This is Andy Gutierrez from StarWars.com, and you are listening to Coffee with Kenobi with Dan Z. This is the podcast you're looking for.
This is James Arnold Taylor, and you're listening to Coffee with Kenobi. I have a good feeling about this.
Joining me today on CWK Daily, which is still an unusual term to say, but so far the response and feedback from all of you has been fantastic, and I appreciate that so much. But here's something you're really going to appreciate. As I mentioned at the top of the show, my co-host today is the one and only Mr. Clayton Sandell.
Good morning, and thank you, Dan, for continuing to take my calls and texts now that you're a big-time Star Wars author.
Hey, man, I appreciate all your positivity and feedback. You have always been so gracious and so cool, and it helps that we're buddies, too, so I thank you so much.
Yeah, well, I want to ask you about that in a bit, but how you doing? How are things going?
It's going good. It's getting used to kind of our new normal, and one of the things I've done creatively, of course, is to CWK Coffee with Kenobi Daily, and that has been fun. We are doing really good about keeping a schedule around here because I'm still, of course, teaching remotely, which is a very unique challenge, but one that I welcome. It's hard to teach Hamlet to students when you don't see them face to face, and you want to make sure they stay on and still try to use critical thinking instead of Google to figure out answers. But I've been impressed so far with what they have done. Our son Dean has been great about setting him up with a half hour from 9 to 2:30. He's got a half hour schedule where every half hour he's got a new subject or a topic, whether it's PE or English or reading or math or drawing or what have you. And we're just trying to take care of business. How about you guys?
We're doing fine. It is, establishing a routine is something that really is critical. This for us was already our official spring break, and of course now it's been extended several weeks into the future. So we've kind of been taking it a little bit easy as far as trying to structure things. We've been bad parents. The kids have been getting lots and lots of screen time, which is fine for now. The weather had been really, really nice here. It had been like 60, 70 degrees, sunny, blue skies, all of that. And so we were able to kind of balance it out. We would let the kids do a little TV watching or video games or whatever, and then we would go out and walk the dogs down to the big park that's about a quarter mile from us. And so we were able to get outside, and then my son Alex, who's 6, was able to go out and jump on the trampoline and burn off a bunch of crazy little boy bouncing off the walls energy. But then yesterday we had a giant snowstorm move in, very fast, powerful snowstorm. So we now have at least, I haven't measured it, at least a foot of snow out in the backyard. So everything outside has kind of gone away for a bit. I'm told it's supposed to be like 50 degrees tomorrow. So hopefully this will melt off a little bit and we can start getting back outside and balance things out a little bit. But no, overall it's been fine. We have my son has been into Jedi Fallen Order, the video game.
Oh yeah, we have that, but we haven't gotten very far.
Yeah. I started to play it, and then kind of got busy with work stuff, and there was a certain point in the game. I don't know if you've gotten to the point where it's really early in the game where you're in this like train car, and there's the big spinning wheel.
That part's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And you have to stop the spinning wheel and do the thing. Well, in order to climb up it. And for whatever reason, because I'm old, I couldn't figure out how to get past that. And so that's kind of where I stopped. It was like, I'll get back to this. And never really did. And then my sons picked it up. And between sort of trial and error, and also he's been watching these videos, like YouTube videos that people will post about the game. So you can basically, as you know, you can just sit there and watch somebody play the game and pick up tips and figure out how to do things. Well, he's done a lot of that. And so he's gotten to several of the planets in the game and knows all about it. In fact, he cracked me up yesterday because we were sitting there and I was watching him play. He wants me to watch him play. So I was sitting there watching him play. And the characters, it's almost like we do with the movies. He knew some of the dialogue. He was in sync with the dialogue, repeating the lines out loud as these scenes played out. So that gives you an idea of how much he's played it. But it's kind of embarrassing because he's 6 and he knows all of this stuff. He knows, the tricky maneuvers. He knows how to, and he gives me crap over it. He's like, "Oh, you wouldn't be doing as good as me if you started to play. You wouldn't be doing as good as me right now. You don't know how to do this. You don't know how to run on the walls. You don't know
seriously how to like you're living my life."
They smack talk you, right? And it's
yes.
Like, wait a minute,
you're not doing as good as me, Daddy.
Yeah, you're not doing as good as me.
Like, so, I wrote a book, mister. What'd you do? And he actually wrote a book, too.
Yeah. Well, there you go. So, About pigeons.
No, Mason is also like, we run on the out on the trampoline when we can, but we've had some unfortunate weather the past couple of days. It's been more rainy here than snowy, but suppose it's going to snow here in a couple of days. Then we got Jedi Fallen Order, and we played it for a little bit. And he was great at it, and he like your son Mason likes for me to watch him play. And then I don't know why we got distracted, but I think we should revisit it because it sounds like it's got some really cool aspects of the lore. Where we stopped was when he gets on that planet and he meets that droid, and then he's able to customize his lightsabers. That's where we stopped.
Oh yeah, exactly. Which is also fairly early in the game. No, there's some cool characters that pop up, and like you said, some cool lore. And the game looks great.
Yes, it's gorgeous.
And what I find kind of hysterical is the stormtroopers all sound like David W. Collins, because it is David W. Collins, and and there's just some great little quips from the stormtroopers as you approach them and fight them. And
I wonder where you get to a point in your life where you start using your middle initial as part of your name. That's a whole other level, isn't it?
It really is. Yeah. It really is. It's almost like you're knighted, and then you can use your middle initial. Yes.
What is your middle initial?
D for David.
Clayton D. Sandell. Maybe if you need to be called that in the future, I'll be happy to change my mindset.
It doesn't roll off the tongue like David W. Collins does. It just doesn't. What's yours?
It's Dean. So Daniel Dean Zaire.
Oh, see, that's pretty good. Yeah, because there's a little alliteration there, so that helps.
Well, that's true. That's true. I like it. So that's very, very fun. Have you guys ever played Disney Infinity?
No.
Oh, dude, you might want to get on eBay, or maybe Amazon probably still has them. But the 3.0 one has this mat, and it's got these great figures that you put on the mat. And when you put the figures on the mat, those are the figures you use in the game, and you can fight. So like Mason and I can have like Anakin and Yoda against Thor and Hulk or Captain America, and you can level up, and it's pretty easy, and you can build these little worlds and cities and just play in them and make little bad guys count, and you can attack them or you can attack each other. There are missions. It's really pretty much made for 6-year-olds, and it's a blast.
Oh, that's fun. All right.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right.
It's very good.
Check that out.
So
week four, we'll check that one out.
Yes, that seems like a good week 4 activity. Let's talk some Star Wars books.
Let's talk Star Wars books. You want to talk about mine or yours?
Well, let's go with yours first.
So yeah, I got some mana from heaven the other day, or FedEx, as it were.
Yes.
The art of Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker arrived just yesterday, which is very exciting.
A welcome treat. Yeah, mine is en route, I believe.
This is Phil Shostak, who of course is a guru of the Lucasfilm art department and a huge champion for all of the work that those folks do. If you don't follow him on Twitter, I was actually going to try and pull up his handle here, but if you're not following him on Twitter, he's amazing, because he will retweet some of the artists and their Instagram posts and their Twitter posts and a lot of the artwork from not just Rise of Skywalker, but other projects going back years.
The whole history of Lucasfilm. Yeah.
Yeah, the whole history of Lucasfilm. In fact, there was a tweet he put out, or he retweeted was it Ryan Church? I can't remember who he retweeted. Do you remember this? It showed like AT-AT walkers like ramming each other.
Yeah, that was very cool. He's got one of the most engaging accounts, and it might throw people because his Twitter profile picture is one of the band members from Spinal Tap.
Yes.
So I don't even know when I actually do get to meet him, I'm going to expect to see Christopher Guest. Exactly.
I can attest, having met him. He does not look like Christopher Guest. However, he's great, and so he's the one who kind of is the chronicler of all of these great concept art. And the thing that I love about these books, I'm sort of a traditional behind the scenes kind of guy. I want to know all the nuts and bolts of how the movies were made, and this kind of combines a little bit of that, because it's not just a whole bunch of pictures. They divide it up into chapters by by like creature department and droids and costumes and all of these different things. And as they do that, they give you some good behind the scenes detail about when things went into production and who was meeting and who was hired, and lots of great in the weeds details about how these films are made, which is always fun for me.
Well, and knowing you the way that I do, I know what a big special effects guy or just sort of behind the scenes guy. In fact, when Galaxy's Edge opened last year in California, you and I had hung out quite a bit, and we were on the train, Walt's classic train that went around Disneyland Park. Mm-hmm. And you were just talking to me about some of the attractions and how some things were made and created. It was fun just to hear you wax poetic about the behind the scenes.
Yeah, all of that stuff is fun, and I think we may have talked about this before, that when Return of the Jedi left the theaters, we like many thought Star Wars was done, and so I turned to all of the ILM books, the making of books, and just wanted to absorb everything I could about the history and the people that put these movies together. So that's kind of where my own sort of niche interest developed, and I sort of carried that through. I grew up in Southern California, so went to Disneyland all the time, and that kind of I'm the same way with Disneyland related stuff. Oh, I found that Instagram post. It was Aaron McBride. Aaron McBride had put out an image of a sand crawler running into an AT-AT.
Yeah, that was super cool.
Yeah, and actually, at the time, the tweet that I put out was I was actually surprised that was released, or that was allowed to be released, because typically when you ask Lucasfilm types about ideas that didn't make it onto the big screen, they don't like to talk about them much, because you never know when something might be recycled for a new project. And to me, this would have been awesome to see on the screen. So I was surprised that they released it, but I wasn't complaining.
Well, maybe it'll show up in an episode of The Mandalorian or something.
There you go.
That, speaking of effects in Star Wars, what a great documentary that came out a couple of weeks ago. It was only like 4.5 minutes long, 5 minutes, but the way they showed the special effects of how The Mandalorian is filmed, it's got to be mind-blowing to you.
Yeah, really cool. And what I think that video started to get into, but still didn't really detail, is just, it's not just that you're projecting a backdrop onto a screen, or that the LED screens, the background is on these screens. There's a lot more that goes into it that is maybe a little hard to explain, but
it felt textured and layered. Like, it didn't feel like from the behind the scenes of the Phantom Menace used to look to us. It didn't feel like that at all.
No. And what's so cool about the technology is just how it works with the camera. So depending on where the camera is and what the camera is doing, the background will adjust to make it look just right. And it's just, I'm curious to see really if that gets adopted to the feature films at some point. I can see it being good enough, and holy cow! Just looking at the documentary that came with The Rise of Skywalker, looking at the logistical hurdles of going to Jordan to shoot all of those scenes is if you could eliminate all of that and still get the same shots essentially by shooting all of that on a soundstage in this volume, I can't imagine that they're not looking at ways to make that work. They went to Jordan and had to get the army to build roads for them so that they could get into these areas to shoot for. I think they were only shooting for 3 weeks, but they were there for months prepping that site, and I can only imagine how much that costs.
Pretty mind-blowing, pretty crazy stuff. So let's go ahead and take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have much more with Clayton Sandell. This is Coffee with Kenobi.
This is Vanessa Marshall, and you're listening to Coffee with Kenobi.
We are back, and we were just talking about the art of The Rise of Skywalker.
Yes.
You have the digital copy of the film. I surprisingly don't have it yet. They were sending it to me, and I don't know, just because of what's going on in the world, everything's taking a little bit longer, but I haven't gotten my copy yet. So maybe we'll have you back on when I've gotten a chance to see it. But if you don't mind, give sort of a spoiler-free overview of the extras on this incredible thing.
Well, the big one is this. It's got to be 2 hours, I would think.
It is
documentary that really goes into a lot of detail on the film and the behind the scenes, from the creatures to the visual effects to sort of the treatment of the Skywalker legacy in general. And it's really fun because there are some great characters that they find that you wouldn't normally that I'm glad they focused on. People like the stunt coordinator, this woman who's just a firecracker of a stunt coordinator who helps Daisy Ridley and the others through their scenes. And so there's a fair amount of focus on folks like that, which is fun. Really the line level people that are making it happen. I mean, obviously, the directors and actors and all those people are important, but behind them, you have this literal cast of thousands of people that are doing all sorts of jobs that are equally important to actually getting the film in the can. So that's a lot of fun. There's a lot of cool visual effects. There's a great sequence in there that cracked me up because they go all the way to Jordan in this beautiful desert, Wadi Rum, and are getting set up to do all of the scenes that take place in that setting. And then they erect a giant green screen around the backdrop to film the chase scene.
Oh, yeah.
And it's kind of funny because you have people like Oscar Isaac going, we've come all the way here to Jordan and you've just put up this giant green screen.
Pretty valid, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty valid, and it's huge. And the visual effects supervisor, people like Roger Guyette, explain that the reason they're doing this is because it's very hard to duplicate the lighting effects that you would find on location.
Sure.
And so they can erect the green screen to help out the visuals and still take advantage of the proper lighting angles and the color of the sun and all of these things that do go into making a convincing visual. So it's kind of fun, to see stuff like that. And of course they deal with how they incorporated unused footage of Carrie Fisher to complete her scenes, and so it's all very cool. It's a lot of fun. So that's
That's worth the price of admission alone.
It's definitely worth the price of admission. Yeah, and there's actually a couple that I still haven't watched yet. Some of the shorter features. So looking forward to that.
So here's
there's some. I won't give it away, but
Yeah.
it's what's truly worth the price of admission here is John Williams, his cameo, and the care that went into that cameo and the things around him. Is all I'll say, but it's incredible what they did. They pulled off something very, very cool.
John Williams, your buddy that you hung out with at the premiere a little bit.
Yes, all of 10 seconds, Dan.
Hey, that's 10 more seconds than most people get.
That's true. Legendary.
That's right. Absolutely.
Let me ask you about your book.
Sure.
So tell me all about it. Do I have a copy? Is it in my inbox? It's in my mailbox. I just haven't gotten it yet.
I think the golden swans that were supposed to fly to your house with gossamer wings probably are en route.
They're stuck in the snow. Yeah,
exactly. Most likely.
So what is this going to be? Who are you writing it with? Tell us everything you can without a lightning bolt coming down from the Lucasfilm legal department.
Yeah, we don't want those. So what I can say, most of what I can say, is on Amazon.com. The description, but the book is called The Star Wars Book. In fact, the full title is pretty surreal to me. And basically what it is it's a series of essays written by myself, a guy you may have heard of called Pablo Hidalgo, and of course,
familiar
Star Wars author Cole Horton.
Mm-hmm.
And the three of us have a series of things that we talk about. We're assigned certain categories and ideas are different sections in the world of Star Wars to talk about. It's the Star Wars book, Expand Your Knowledge of a Galaxy Far, Far Away, comes out October 20th. And what I can say is that it was a lot of work and it was incredibly fun. I can't even, when I first got the information or the invite to write this thing, I honestly, the last time I felt that kind of adrenaline was right after I proposed to Deanna. I mean, that's how I felt. It was just electric.
Wow.
My hands were tingling. I was just thrilled. I mean, it's easily been a lifelong dream of mine to write a Star Wars book for Lucasfilm, and just to see it when I first saw it on Amazon. But now I knew it was coming. I wasn't sure the exact day, but I knew to look at a certain time during the week. So I refreshed the page probably more than is rational. But when it finally popped up, I couldn't believe it. I just felt so excited and blessed, and I can't wait for everybody to read it. So yeah, of course you'll have a copy.
And it'll be out when?
October 20th.
October 20th.
Yeah, so we've got some time. It's funny. When I first posted it, I posted some stuff on social media, and then the next day I checked it again, and all the pre-sales were gone. And my mom texted me. She said, "I wasn't able to get your book. How am I not going to get your book?" And I said, "Well, I sent you the link, Mom." But she didn't order it right away. Now you can pre-order it again, which is good news. They're kind of funny.
And I joked if you were offering a roll of toilet paper with every book sale, then you could just completely retire early at this point.
Deanna thought that was pretty funny, by the way. I think you posted it on Facebook. So what did you think when I texted it to you? What did you think? Were you like,
I was like, this is fake. No, I'm kidding. I was very excited for you because it's great. You know, and what's so cool is that kind of with the Project Lumina stuff that's going on, it's like we're not getting new movies right now. So the literature side of things is what's kind of propping things up for the time being, which is going to be terrific. I think by the time October rolls around, there's not going to be a new movie coming in December. People are going to be really hungry for all sorts of cool new Star Wars related stuff. So I think you're in a very good spot. I just want to know if it has a lot of pictures because I'm not a good reader. So are there nice big color photographs I can look at?
There are. DK is known for their great text and their beautiful, expansive images. And so yeah, there's a lot of infographics and gorgeous images and details. I think you're going to get I think it'll be a hoot for you, my friend.
I'm sure it will. No, we're all very proud of you. So nice job.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate that for sure.
listening to Coffee with Kenobi. You are the podcast you're looking for. This is...
That's going to do it for this week's show. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to have a cup of coffee with me and for helping to spread the word about our Star Wars family we've got here at Coffee with Kenobi. To join us in the CWK Cafe, which is our Facebook group, and share your Star Wars thoughts, comments, reviews, and opinions in a family-friendly, spoiler-free place that is also drama-free, go to www.coffeewithkenobi.com/community and be part of the conversation, talk about this week's show, or just talk some Star Wars. It is a lot of fun, and you'll make some new friends, as well as catch up with longtime friends there as well. I also want to thank all of our new and longtime members of the CWK family and let you know how much I appreciate your help and support. I love being able to give back to you with CWK Pour-Over, the exclusive weekly podcast not heard anywhere else. I want to thank our CWK family members, Jason Hall, Dennis Keithley, Colby Mead, Jessica Berry, Adam Bankhurst, David Nicely, Jeff Ellis, Ross Hallivan, Frank Mulder, Alexander Moylan, Aaron Harris, Chris Gavarka, Angela Sauce, Susan Gray, Connie Shee, Tyler Pompey, Hannah, Alex Procasio, Ian Thompson, Simbad Defterdarian, Christine Turk, Kurt McKellen, Dan Ream, Brian Harding, Blake Weaver, Jim Capron, Caroline Maselli, Chris Metz, LJ Souter, Thea Selby, Daz Davies, Christian Dale, Brian McKinney, Jared Cantor, BJ Smith, Eric Struthers, Nick Deco, and Mark Suter. If you want to be an exclusive member of our CWK family, go to www.coffeewithkenobi.com/support. It's a great way to help support and help out the show, and 10% of your monthly contributions go directly to the St. Jude Children's Hospital to support the incredibly important work they are doing to help these brave children and their families. In addition to being a part of the community on Facebook, please don't forget to visit our website at www.coffeewithkenobi.com for Star Wars news, announcements, reviews, videos, and so much more. If you have a question for me or just want to share your thoughts on the air, feel free to email me at danz@coffeewithkenobi.com and I'll share them on the show. You can also connect with me on Twitter at Mr. Zer, MRZEHR. There are also a lot more ways to connect with me and Coffee with Kenobi on social media. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Give us a like on Facebook at facebook.com/coffeewithkenobi and check us out on Pinterest. You can find me twice a month on the podcast Looking at Lucasfilm, part of the Jim Hill Media Podcast Network, and you can find my writing on CWK's website, as well as StarWars.com and on IGN. And if you are considering starting a podcast or a blog, let me know how I can help you get started and help you make your creative vision a reality. Be sure to check out danzymedia.com and we can get the process started. I am also available to come to your school, conference, business, or organization to talk about how to tap into your strengths and help you bring out your very best. I want to inspire you to be inspired. Don't be afraid to take that first step into a larger world. Thanks as always to our CWK sponsors, especially MEI and Mousefan Travel, our travel partner and your one-stop shop for all things Walt Disney World, Disneyland, the Disney Cruise Lines, or anywhere on the planet that you want to go on vacation. Please go to www.coffeewithkenobi.com/mousefantravel to book your magical vacation and help support Coffee with Kenobi in the process. If you like the show, please tweet out that you're listening, share it on Facebook, or invite your friends and family to tune in and share a cup of coffee with us. And if the force is especially with you, please take a couple of minutes to rate and review the show on iTunes or Google Podcasts. Every review makes a huge difference and helps spread the word. Well, very good. Well, Clayton, this was awesome catching up with you. I know just personally, I miss seeing and talking to my friends. So obviously we don't see each other as much as we would like to because we live on opposite ends of the United States of America. But it is great to catch up with you, my friend.
Same here. Now, do you have a quarantine comfort Star Wars movie or project that you've been watching, or?
Well, what I've been doing is, of course, besides the Daily Show, Mason and I have been watching a lot of Clone Wars. And before we watched the one that came out today with the return of Ahsoka, I showed him the last 4 of Season 5 where Ahsoka leaves the Order. And I had forgotten about how incredibly powerful those episodes are. So that's great. He and I I've been kind of taking him through Clone Wars sporadically, but not in a linear fashion, just kind of different arcs to just kind of wet his whistle. What about you?
Very cool. I've had Empire Strikes Back on a few times in the background in the last few days, just throwing it out there. It's like a warm blanket.
It is. It very much is. I love it. No, that's good. I thought about having a marathon as well. So if people want to reach out to you and continue the conversation, where can they reach out to you online?
Probably the best one is Twitter at Clayton_Sandell. Clayton_Sandell.
Great. Well, hey, thanks so much, man, for joining me for a cup of coffee today.
You bet. Hang in there.
This podcast is not endorsed by the Walt Disney Company or Lucasfilm Limited. It is intended for entertainment and informational purposes only. The official Star Wars website can be found at www.starwars.com. Star Wars, all names, sounds, and any other Star Wars-related items are registered trademarks and or copyrights of Disney and their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of Coffee with Kenobi unless otherwise indicated.
This is the podcast you're looking for.
There's no one here.